Hello friends, let us now learn some important points about the cardiac tamponade. Okay, so if you see cardiac tamponade, here you will see presence of accumulation of fluid is seen in the pericardial sac. You will see accumulation of fluid in the pericardial sac is seen due to various causes. You will see accumulation of fluid in pericardial sac due to various causes. So because of accumulation of fluid in the pericardial sac, this will lead to increased pericardial pressures. Okay, and this will cause reduced filling pressures in the heart, because this is the heart lies in the pericardium. When the pericardial pressures are increased, it is difficult for the heart to fill the blood. So this will lead to decreased filling of the heart. And remember one thing, for filling of the heart, there is one formula which is important, that is true filling pressure of heart. True filling pressure of the heart is equal to intracavitary pressure minus pericardial pressure. True filling of the heart is equal to intracavitary pressure minus pericardial pressure is true filling of the heart. Okay. Then in cardiac pressure, if you see, this pericardial pressure is greater than the intracavitary pressure. Pericardial pressure is greater than the intracavitary pressure. So as a result, this will result in increased venous pressure. Actually, venous pressure must increase to fill the heart. So despite of increased venous pressure, here the preload is reduced. Reduced preload decreases the heart, the fluid which is filling the heart is decreased. So this will decrease the cardiac output. And slowly this will also decrease the blood pressure. Okay, so in cardiac tamponade, we have something called as Beck's triad. According to Beck's triad, you will see presence of muffled heart sounds, and then you will see silent heart. Muffled heart sound is nothing but muffled heart sound or silent heart is present. Why is this present? Because of the presence of fluid in the pericardium. This occurs due to the presence of fluid in the pericardium. Okay, then you will also see presence of increased jugular venous pressure, which is seen externally as neck vein distension, and obviously you can measure the jugular venous pressure. And you will also see decrease in blood pressure. Blood pressure is decreased. This triad is called as Beck's triad. And then, so what is happening here? Here, whenever there is diastole will cause because of diastole, the pericardial pressure will increase. So this will increase the further intracavitary pressure is also increased. I wrote wrong. Okay, because of diastole, pericardial pressure is increased, so this will increase the intracavitary pressure. Thus, as a result, there is no filling occurs during the diastole. Okay, because pericardial pressure increases, the intracavitary pressure also increases, so no filling occurs in the diastole. Because of this, there will be absence of Y wave is seen on the JVP. On JVP, you will see absence of Y wave, and you will also see diastolic collapse is also seen. Diastolic collapse of right atria and right ventricle is also seen. Okay, so now if you, this is in diastole. Now what happens in systole? In systole, if you see, there is decrease in size of the heart occurs. Why does there decrease in size of the heart? This is due to ventricular contraction. Due to ventricular contraction, decrease in size of the heart occurs. This will decrease the pericardial pressure. Because of decreased size, pericardial pressure decreases. So as a result, heart fills only in systole. So filling occurs only in the systole. So here if you see, venous return in cardiac tamponade is only unimodal, that is, it occurs only in systole rather than no filling occurs in diastole. So then there will be, after venous filling, there will be ventricular contraction occurs. This ventricular contraction occurs. During ventricular contraction, the atria will relax, and as a result it produces X wave in JVP. So if you see overall what is happening in cardiac tamponade, the findings are variant or different. Cardiac tamponade, the findings are different in systole and also in diastole. So if you see, in systole there is no venous return. Okay, this will lead to loss of, there is no venous return, so this will lead to loss of Y waves on JVP. Okay, whereas in diastole there is collapse of right ventricular pressure. In diastole there is no venous return, there is loss of Y waves on JVP. Because of this no venous return, there is collapse of right ventricular pressure during diastole. Whereas in systole what happens? In systole venous return occurs, so this will preserve the X descent. Okay, so there is no Y wave and there is X descent is seen in cardiac tamponade. Then if you see the clinical features are, you will see presence of dyspnea, you will see fatigue, and you will see orthopnea in the patients, and you will also see presence of pulsus paradoxicus. What do you see in pulsus paradoxicus? In pulsus paradoxicus, there is decrease in systolic blood pressure is seen more than 10 millimeters of Hg with normal respiration. With normal inspiration, you will see systolic blood pressure of more than 10 millimeters of Hg is present. Okay, this paradoxical pulse can be noted by marked weakening or deepening of disappearance of pulse. This is seen when this is actually noted by marked weakening, or if the pulse disappears. Disappearance of peripheral pulse occurs, then we can think of pulsus paradoxicus. If there is marked weakening of pulse or disappearance of peripheral pulse during inspiration, then it results in pulsus paradoxicus. Okay, this pulsus paradoxicus is actually not diagnostic of cardiac tamponade, because there are many diseases which have pulsus paradoxicus. So because this can also occur in diseases, like it can occur in chronic lung disease. Okay, it can occur in acute asthma, then it can occur in severe congestive heart failure and in cases of hypovolemic shock. So where is pulsus paradoxicus absent? So if you see this pulsus paradoxicus is mainly absent in massive pulmonary embolism due to hypothyroidism. It is absent in massive pulmonary embolism due to hypothyroidism. Next, diagnosis. How are you going to diagnose the cardiac tamponade? Cardiac tamponade can be diagnosed by echocardiography. You can do, okay, echocardiography can be done, and cardiac catheterization. In either echocardiography or cardiac catheterization, you will see the left atrial and right atrial pressures are found to be equal. Actually, they are not equal, but in pulsus paradoxicus they are found to be equal. Sorry, but in cardiac tamponade they are found to be equal. And you will also see presence of on ECG. You will see presence of electrical alternance. What is electrical alternance? You will see alternation in amplitude of QRS complexes. You will see alternation of amplitude of QRS complexes or T wave. There is alternation in amplitude. That is pulsus paradoxicus. It is not always, it is only sometimes associated with pericardial effusion. Why does this occur? This mainly occurs because of the swinging back and forth in the pericardial space. Because of swinging back and forth in the pericardial space, this will result in pulsus alternance. So if I draw an ECG, it will be something like this. One wave will be small, one wave will be large, second wave will be similar to the third wave, will be similar to the first wave, and fourth wave will be similar to the second wave. It will be like this something. Okay, now if you do treatment, so treatment is you will have to do pericardiocentesis. Pericardiocentesis can be done with echocardio guided. Pericardiocentesis can be done. Here you can use subxiphoid surgical drainage can be done. Okay, next. Then next about the, okay, thank you for watching. This is about cardiac tamponade. Thank you for watching.